Hi, I'm McCarthy, and I help people with their breakups. And today we have another breakup story to share. And if you have a breakup story you want to share, send it into writemac.com. And I could break it down in a YouTube video just like this. If you like this video, like it. If you want to subscribe, subscribe. Let's get into it. Hello, Coach. I have a situation where I haven't broke up and don't plan to anytime soon. I've been living with my girlfriend for a long time now, for about 2 years. We actually started out as roommates. That's kind of interesting, right? I've heard of this more than once, though. It's kind of a long story, but we knew each other from going out once. I wasn't really interested, and neither was she. But then about 3 months later, she came to my house and asked if she could rent a room and that she'd help out with cleaning my house. Okay, so was this a house you owned or you rented? I'm just curious. That would make a slight difference to me. Also, what didn't you like initially that you didn't want to go out with her again would be something I'd ask in a live coaching session. That being said, this is just proof that someone can grow on you. I have a room downstairs that has a separate entrance, so I told her she could stay down there for a month and we'd see how things go. Quick question, did you charge her rent? Or was this just a temporary thing? This is where the details get into a session where we can talk one-on-one a little bit. Took downstairs. I have a room downstairs. That worked out fine as I was dating other women. She did a good job of cleaning the house on the weekends. I was never bothered by her, but of course, about 6 weeks after her living downstairs, she and I hooked up. Do you think this was on her agenda? Or do you think this just happened by chance would be my question. 6 weeks in, okay, like I said, female, male, you had some sort of attraction or you wouldn't have asked her out in the first place, right? Even though it went bad. She thought we were together, and I told her I wanted to stay single. It was nothing to me, but I could tell it was a big deal to her. She understood and didn't make a big deal out of it, but over time, she won me over. So bottom line is this happens a lot. Sometimes sex and intimacy can mean way more to the other person than it does to you, or vice versa. And then I had to leave town on business for a couple months, which was hard on her, as she is much more attached to me than I am to her. But we talk daily, and actually through the long distance, our relationship got stronger, and I felt better about her. Interesting. Again, she grew on you. She stuck with you. She's been there. And maybe this is what you're attracted to. She cleans the house. She's available when you're on long distance. Sounds like she's pretty loyal. She's a good girlfriend. She's loyal, honest, and we have a great intimacy. She's highly affectionate and cares about me a lot. But she tends to do this thing where she creates situations that make me feel guilty. Okay, so she makes you feel guilty. You always have a control of your own emotions and how your mind works. You could be triggered by something. But if you're blaming her for making you feel guilty, take 2 steps back, my friend, and dissect what it is exactly, example-wise, where this occurs. And always know you have a power to reframe this situation, right? You need to confront her if you think that she's throwing guilt nets on you, as I call it. She's highly affectionate and cares about me, but she tends to do this thing where she creates a situation to make me feel guilty, or where she thinks she knows what I'm thinking. She'll say, I know you still love your ex, and it's okay. I know you'll never care for me like you do her. Is that true? So whenever you get these situations, is it true? If it's not true, don't be pleading your case or, working yourself out of a corner. Just, you need to say directly, that's not true. We need to sit down and talk about this. Quit saying that, or we're going to break up. No one wants to be accused of something that's not true, regardless of what it is, let alone these kinds of things. And if you react to it in a certain way, she's going to keep using it as ammo whenever she wants to win a fight. She'll say, I know you're still in love. And the crazy part is these sort of statements come from times that we've had no issues, and then if it's as if she feels she's not getting me to commit to her long-term, more like marriage and kids, which is definitely on her radar and mine too. She's 33 and I'm 42. And I'm really wanting to start a family the next couple of years. And she feels like she'd be a great mom and a loving wife, but she sort of attempts to push me in that direction with guilt-ridden, passive-aggressive comments. So this is going to be the pattern throughout the relationship. I think even if you get married, if this is how she's acting in the beginning, it doesn't go away. This is how she communicates to get her way. Unless there's therapy, or when you have sit-down conversations and you're able to tell her how you feel about these situations where she's making it a bigger deal than it needs to be, or she's making passive-aggressive comments, and you're able to unwind those things, which is completely possible. And I'd say it's more possible when she's 33 than if she was 23. Because a lot of times I have guys come to me and they're like, oh my God, this. I'm like, she's 22 years old. She's 23 years old. He's 21. It's timing. Okay, so what you need to do is the individual situations where she's being passive aggressive or guilt-ridden in her comments, you need to confront her on those directly and don't let them ride, and unpack them. And honestly, I know what she wants. And honestly, I know she creates scenarios. For example, I asked her to call the electric company about a situation, and she helped me with that. She then turned it into telling me that it might be best to put her name on the house. Again, do you own the house? I said we can talk about it later, but 10 minutes later, she texted that I just don't care about her and that much, and it's okay that she's just a guest in my house. What do you do with that? Well, do you feel like it's true? Do you feel like there's some truth there? First and foremost, get her perspective. Where is she coming from? Is there some truth to that, or is she pushing you into a corner? What are you going to communicate back? Hey, look, I know you want to get married and have kids. Hey, I'm not ready to put you on the house yet, right? Where is this coming from? You got to get down to the nitty gritty. You got to get down rather than you just impulsively react. We have this wonderful relationship, but when she doesn't get what she wants or feels shortchanged about something, she'll turn it into how much I don't care about her. That's a huge red flag. Again, 33 years old, if she's willing to talk about it, maybe even get a marriage counselor. But when you do talk about it, you come to an agreement that both of you understand where each other is coming from, your perspective and your perceptions. Okay, your perspective and your perceptions. Why is she coming to this conclusion? Where is this coming from? Was she abandoned when she was young? Did she have dad issues? Where is this? Did she use this tactic with a past boyfriend and it worked? Okay. I know it all stems from her wanting marriage and commitment at some point, and I'm with that. I think it's deeper than that. But I want that to come at my own pace. This happens a lot with men, even though you're in your 40s and you say like, oh, I want marriage. Men tend to ride a little bit slower, and they don't like to be pushed in the idea of marriage and kids. And women, and I've talked about this before, 33, 34, 35 is a big sweet spot for I really want marriage and kids. Okay, and the longer your boyfriend and girlfriend at that 33, 34, 35 range, and they want to get married, the more they're going to push you in that direction. And sometimes it could be passive aggressive. Women tend to hint, or they tend to do things that aren't directly related to, hey, I want to get married this next year. It'll be more like something like, you don't care about me, right? I don't want the breakup with her, but I don't want to deal with this long term. And could this type of behavior be just the tip of the iceberg if we got married? Absolutely could be, right? Because what's next? If this is her way of communicating and getting her way, yes. If this is just her being insecure because you're here and she's here as far as loving and caring, and this is what happens a lot. It seems like you care less, so you're ruling the relationship. It seems like you've cared less since the beginning, right? And so she overcompensates and gets in a situation where she feels insecure because she feels like she loves and wants you more, but you're living together, right? And so this is one of those things when you live together, the next step is to get married. The next step is to have kids. The next step, you got me? And so you still want to stay at your own pace, but you're absolutely correct. I'd need to talk to you a little deeper in a live coaching session to get deeper on this, but you're absolutely correct. This could be a huge red flag. It also could be something that's worked out right now in the beginning when you're basically getting shit tested. Hey, I'm not going to communicate this way. This isn't going to work with me. And like I said, she could have been communicating this way with a past boyfriend or witnessed it with her parents or whoever her caregivers were. And so in the beginning, when these things pop up, having good direct conversations, right? Not going around them, not letting them boil over to something where you just erupt is timely. And this is why, like, most of the time I'm dealing with breakups, so this is a very timely situation where you write to me and ask my opinion. I know you mentioned in another video how the relationship starts is usually how it will continue. Usually. Like I said, what's on your side is 33 and 42. You got maturity on your side. You're both individuals that want to settle down. So if you said, I don't want to get married and I don't want to have kids, I'd say just get out of this relationship then. You're saying, I could see her being a good mother. She's loyal. So there's some things to work with here, okay? The idea that her communication is in such a way where you're feeling guilty, I'd need to know more. Is that you feeling guilty and perceiving something that she said in a certain way? Or is it, where is she coming from in these situations, right? I know you mentioned is there any way to get her to start communicating more effective or without the extremes? Yeah, sit down and talk to her or get a marriage counselor or a breakup coach like myself, not a breakup coach for a breakup, but to talk about this. One thing I didn't mention is we come from different cultures and our English isn't the best, let alone some things that are just cultural differences. Well, this is something I'm well aware of living in another country for 10 plus years and having relationships with other cultures. And it makes it more difficult. And you need to understand the perspective of that culture because some things you don't understand. Why do you do that? Right? Just as simple as it is that you don't understand the language, the way someone does things or communicates, or better yet, their expectations in a relationship can be very cultural based. And if you're not familiar with that culture, you could be, walking around in the dark looking for a flashlight. So that is going to affect that. I don't know how deep you are in understanding her culture. It makes a difference because then when you understand culture, you're like, this isn't just me. This isn't just her. This is what's been programmed. And that's probably not going to go away. So you have to learn how to accept some of those cultural things or not. I'm understanding of that too, but sometimes I'm not sure. Is she just being manipulative? Well, everyone has a manipulative level. It's just how high is it, right? Manipulation is getting what you want, right? It's getting what you want. It's how you go about it. If she's acting like a little kid and saying, you don't care about me, it could be just a shit test to see if you handle that way. And like I said, if I had to guess, she's 33. She had a couple other relationships where guys would respond to that. Now, if you redirect the ship and go, hey, wait a minute, that's not how I operate, okay? This is not going to work with me. You live with me. You're my girlfriend. Of course I care about you. If we have a problem, we can talk about it. You throwing these guilt darts at me, right? It's not going to work. And eventually, I will break up with you if this continues. So you don't have to worry about that. Now, what's your issue? Make it about the problem. See, what's happening is, like you said, it was some kind of electric issue. I don't know. And she wants the name, her name put on the house. Get down to the details of the situation rather than you don't care about me. And then direct it towards, do you understand what I mean by that? We're going to talk about one situation. You're making it about something else, right? Now, if she doesn't get that concept and she continues to do this again and again, she doesn't start to make some changes. Right now, this is the stage of the relationship where you go, is she people are capable of changing, all right? But if it continues and continues, I would say, yeah, that's the way it's going to be. What's your opinion on all of this? Is this normal for a woman that wants to get married? I would say it's absolutely normal for any individual that wants something more in a relationship to use manipulative tactics. And like I said, it's probably something she saw as a kid or had in a past relationship at 33, right? I'm assuming she's had a few experiences. That being said, this is not just a rule of thumb where it's like, oh, huge red flag, she can't change, right? There's a few options here, but you need to talk to her and be direct on what you'll accept. This is where you create your boundaries. This is where you talk things out. And if you don't see any progress and it just continues to be a pouting match or her, saying that you don't care about her every time something doesn't go right, you're keeping a tally mark on this now. And it gets to a point where you're like, wow, you're not going to change the way you communicate. You feeling guilty Is that you perceiving something in the wrong way? I have clients sometimes like, it sounds like that's your perception, but it doesn't sound like that's really the perspective of the other person, right? And where are they coming from? She's sitting here going, I'm 33, so let's get perspective from her. She's 33, you're your boyfriend, girlfriend, you've talked about marriage because you both want it. She's living in your home, right? So her next step is to get married, get the house in her name, those kinds of things. These are realities, whether you like them or not, right? If you were to get married. Now, you need to decide what the limit is, what pace you want to go as the man in the relationship, as the other person in the relationship. And this idea of like, oh, what should I do? You should do what you think is best for you and your morals and values with your highest intentions intact. I hope that helps you. If anyone else has a breakup story they want to share, go to writemac.com.